Hello, I am children's book author and teacher Shannon Anderson, and I'm back today with a Budsies Boredom Buster for you. Now, as I said, I'm a children's book author. I love writing. So my boredom buster for you today is to do some writing. Now, if you've seen some of my other videos for kids, I do a lot of writing of poetry, which I love, but I also love writing stories. And so I want to share with you a way to plan and write your own story and turn it into a little book. So one of my books that I wrote is Vulture and Hummingbird. I'm going to use this as an example as we're planning, because when we're writing a story has a beginning and a middle and an end. And we don't want it to be boring, so we don't want the middle to go too fast. For example, we don't want it to be a story about a little girl who lost her dog, and then you turn the page and she found it, boom, happy ending, all done. No, that would be boring, because you do want that happy ending, but there actually has to be a little bit of a struggle before you get to the happy ending to make it a satisfying ending. You want to be rooting for those characters and rooting for them to make their goals or to solve their problems. So because of that, we need to do a little bit of planning as we're writing our stories. And so what I'm going to show you today is how to make a little planning sheet, and then also how to make a book, and then you can write the book. So you can start out, you're just going to need some paper. So I just have a plain piece of white paper that I'm going to fold this way first. So I'm doing what I guess we would call the hot dog fold, right? So fold it this way. And then we're going to fold it in half again. And if I'm going too fast, hopefully you can just pause me or rewatch this or whatever you need to do so that you can be able to do the steps. And then I'm going to fold it one more time. So I started out, let me start all over. I had a full sheet of paper, folded it in half this way, and then I folded it in half again, and then I folded it in half again. And the reason I'm doing that is just simply, if you know your fractions, to make it go into fourths, okay? Now, the reason I want it to go into fourths is because those are the different parts that I'm going to plan out for my story. So watch this. I'm going to write these words. This is called, when I do this with my classroom at school, it's called the somebody wanted but so. I know it sounds really silly, but what it is, you're going to write somebody on the top fourth. You're going to write wanted on the next rectangle, but, and then so, okay? Now, once you get those written, and again, I know I'm going really fast because I'm on video, so you can pause me and you can go at your own pace. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take where you wrote these, where your fold lines are, you're gonna actually cut so that you have flaps. And this is gonna be a nice little flapper organizer for you for your story. Some of you might have noticed I also wrote on the very back, I wrote then, because that's going to be kind of where you wrap it all up and have your ending, okay? So now I have somebody wanted but so. The reason that I have this is because every story is going to have characters of some kind, right? Or at least one main character. So when you open this flap, that's where you can plan that part. I want you to write in there who your main character is. Is it going to be a person? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be a superhero, an alien, a monster? Is it going to be an animal? Like up here, you can see I have Vulture, who is the main character in my book, Vulture, one of the main characters in my book, Vulture and Hummingbird. So who is that main character? And if you want to go into detail, you can even start to describe them. Okay, good writers do that. And then wanted. So what is the story here? What does that main character want? What do they want to happen? What goal are they trying to achieve by the end of the story? Or what problem are they trying to solve? They want to solve what problem? So in the wanted section, that's where you're going to put that. Okay. Now, as I said, any good story, the character doesn't just get what they want right away, because that would be really boring to read. So for the but section, it's going to be, but this happened. So what trials were happening that caused them to not get their way right away? Okay. And then the so what did they try when that didn't work? I'm a big one on growth mindset, and we should always, when things don't work, learn from that and try again, right? So they tried again, doing it how? What happened then, right? And then the very ending on the back is where you will write what happens after they try again. Now in my classroom, I actually have my kids make 3 trials before they're allowed to end it, where the character tried this and that didn't work. And then they tried this and that didn't work. And then they tried this and maybe that didn't even work. And then finally something worked and they met their goal or they solved their problem. Okay, so planning is really important if you want a good story. Now, as I said, Vulture and Hummingbird is a story that I can use as an example for this. So the somebody, one of the main characters is Hummingbird. So under somebody, I put Vulture and Hummingbird because they're both main characters. But what Hummingbird wants, the wanted part would be, Hummingbird wants to bring a smile to Vulture's face. He wants to be kind to him and he wants to be his friend. Now, if I want to say what Vulture wanted, Vulture just wanted to be left alone. So that's what Vulture wanted. But, so Hummingbird wants to be Vulture's friend, but Vulture doesn't want to have anything to do with Hummingbird. So that's what I would put in the but. Vulture doesn't want to be his friend. So under the so part, what I would put is all the different ways that Hummingbird tries to be Vulture's friend. When Vulture's head is cold, he knits him a hat. When he wants to show that he wants to be his friend, he makes him a friendship necklace. He tries to do all these things. He tries to play hide and seek with him. He tries to do all these things, and none of them are working until, and that's where I get to put the then. And I'm not going to give away the ending, but I'll give you a big hint. Kindness always wins. So, okay, they become friends at the end. And so that's how I would plan out this story before I write it. Now, your book. This is pretty easy too. So again, you just need paper. Now, I did this for my kids. I have 2 daughters and they always liked writing stories and poems and things. And so what we would do is we would take just multiple sheets of paper and then a colored piece of paper as well, whatever color you want. And then I stacked them all up and I'm gonna fold them very carefully. You can have your parents help you if you need to get it nice and straight. I'm matching the ends there and I'm folding it. And look at that, now I have a book. So I can put my title there. And if you happen to have, since I'm a teacher, I have one of these great big things. This is called a long neck stapler. And so what I can do is I can push this all the way in and staple it so that I have it made into a book. So I have multiple books that I've made in that way, and I just have a couple of staples. But if you don't have staples, don't worry. You can tape it or you can just hold it together. However you want to do it. I even had, one of my daughters even has done where she punched holes and actually put yarn through it and sewed it like the binding of a book. Pretty cool. So again, you'll have your book cover, whatever color you want to use, and then you can put your title on here and then use your somebody wanted but so planning to figure out, the skeleton of your story, like how it's going to begin, and then all the different ways in the middle that character is going to try to solve their problem or they're going to try to meet their goal, and then how at the end they finally do. And so once you get all of that planned out, you can start writing your story inside. And, it's up to you how much you want to put on each page. That's part of being an author. I have to plan that too. How many lines, how many sentences do I want to have on each page? And then you get to illustrate it, which is super fun. And so you can definitely page out your story, however many pages you need. If it's a really long story, you might have to put lots of sentences on each page. If it's a short one, you might just do 1 sentence per page. But then of course you'll want to illustrate. And then when you're all finished, you'll want to share it with an audience. So whether that's your parents or your friends, or you want to go online and FaceTime with someone and read them the story, you could do that. But this is definitely a boredom buster that is worth the time. It might take you lots of time. Some of my books take me weeks to write. And hopefully you'll have a lot of fun creating those stories. If you have one that you want to share, we would love to see it. Even if you just show us the cover and your sweet little smiles, we would love to see that you did this. So thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great time writing.